So the FNAF trailer dropped a few days ago, and I made a theory video with the reaction analysis, all that. I made a half-baked theory at the end of that video that I wanted to delve into further. But the FNAF trailer did leave us with a lot of questions, like who is Abby? Why is she here? Is she the daughter? Is she a younger sister? Is she a stand-in for baby? Who knows? There's how is Springtrap being Springtrap when we saw that Steve Raglan / William Afton was a career counselor that helped Mike get the job, right? Then there's why is Vanessa here? Who is Vanessa? What's going on? How? But the question I like to answer the most is the biggest question, honestly, that would do a lot with what's going on is Mike Shmidt Michael Afton? Now, Mike Shmidt being Michael Afton is a huge thing in the game lore, right? And it's usually in just the FNAF lore in general, is that Mike Shmidt is Mike Afton because Michael Afton is going around dismantling all of his father's work to make sure that the spirits being put at ease or whatever, right? I mean, that's one part of his job, but you get my point, where it's like he's going through and like getting rid of all of his father's work because his father is a bad man. So, that question is, the thing is about that is that it doesn't seem like that's what's happening in the movie, so that's why the big questions brought up is why, what is Mike Shmidt doing, who is he, why is he here, all that jazz, right? And it could just easily be Scott Cawthon was like, it's actually not. That actually has nothing to do with the Lord. You guys have been wrong this entire time, which would make the rest of us cry. But we figure it out. But right, I think he is Michael Afton, but I think it's not the same story we've always seen, right? I think that Michael Afton is Mike Shmidt, who just has some simple memory repression from PTSD, right? And here's why. So I know, big claim. Oh my god, he just doesn't remember the thing. It's very much like, he just doesn't remember. Nah, that's easy. Fixed it. That's not the case though, right? The biggest thing that brought this upon me and that even made me think about this theory at all is that, and I pointed it out in my reaction video, is that there's a one specific scene, right, where his head is on the desk, he's asleep, right? And if you look in the top, top left corner, and I'll put a picture up here, boom, picture. In the top left corner, there is some medication, right? There's some medication. And you could easily say, what if it's just there from, the 80s, right? And I would agree, but that looks like a fairly new, oh my god, something's behind, fairly new pill bottle, right? New bottle, new prescription, all that jazz. I mean, we can't see the description, but you know what I mean? Like, new bottle. It doesn't look old, right? It doesn't look decrepit like the rest of the place does. It stands out, right? And if something stands out, especially for FNAF, you gotta look into it. So there's medication in that one scene, right? And I was thinking, what would, if this is Michael Afton, what medication would he be taking, and what would that, how would that help explain things, right? And I was thinking about that as I'm going through the video, right? As I'm going through the trailer. And then there was another scene that popped up, and then in my head, I said, why is this here? So if you go look back at the trailer, talking about the haunted children, right? Look at the background. He's in the woods, which for whatever reason is happening, right? He's just in the woods, that's casual, right? So, and there's one other scene in the trailer where he's in the woods. And it's when there's a little boy in a car. I'm gonna call him boy in car, being driven away by whatever, right? He's being driven away by a parent, I'm presuming his mother, because it looked like they had long hair. Little image here, right? Look at that. So there's medication, and then there's an unexplained boy in car scene, right? The other children in the scene, we can dictate, oh yeah, that's definitely the haunted children. They even flash to it when they flash the little kid that has the foxy hook and the flash back and forth, right? They allude to it already, right? They basically tell us. Because we already know that. That's something we already know. So, but this guy, who's this kid? Why is he here? Who is this child, right? So, boom, boom. Two things. Something small I saw, and then something that just didn't make sense, right? The big question that I think connects it all is Shmidt Afton, right? Because this is something big that I went into this trailer not sure of at this point. We all assumed, right? But the teaser didn't give us too much, but the trailer gives us a lot more, right? And to answer this question, and coming back to these 2 points later, I want to talk about what is Mike Shmidt even doing, right? Because we know Michael Afton's motivations in the games, right? And we can recover those real quick. But what even is Mike Shmidt doing, right? So let's talk about character motivation, right? Motivation, right? Boom. That's not where that I thought goes. Boom. Okay, that's closer. So motivation, right? Let's talk about Shmidt, and let's talk about Afton, right? Both of these obviously being the Michael points, right? Boom. Shmidt motivation that we've seen. Actually, let's go with Michael's first, because that's the one we all know, right? Michael left. What is his motivation? To get rid of everything his father made. So, burn father's creation. Not how you spell creation, but it's fine. Burn father's creation, right? That's one of his big motivations, right? I know, and that's actually his only motivation, really. He figures out what his father's doing, and he tries to solve the problem, right? That is his big motivation throughout the entire, like, lore, right? But let's just talk about Shmidt's motivation, at least from the scenes in the trailer, right? Shmidt's motivation is he needs a job. Needs job. Don't worry about it. His motivation is needs job and take care of Abby. Also, fun little fact. Abby is an anagram for baby. So, Abby, switch these two around. Baby. So, that's a fun little note we should all make. So, definitely a stand-in. That's another theory I want to talk about later. Just want to point out that little fun little additive there. And then, so his two motivations are needs job and take care of Abby. That is his only seeming motivation, right? Let's talk about some other differences between them, right? Shmidt, no clue about Freddy's, right? No clue about Fred, right? He has no clue what Freddy's is, right? Because Steve/William has to explain it to him, right? Afton definitely knows what Freddy's is. Freddy expert, right? Major difference there. And this will come back to, right? Is like, why does he know about it? If he is, right? If he isn't Afton, why does he know about it, right? I already gave you the illusion why he doesn't know about it. Memory repression, and now I'll come back up later. So, these are the big differences between the two, right? Boom, boom. So, if he is him, why all differences, right? So, that's where the next thing comes in. So, let's hop back to the medication, right? The medication is just confusing, I think. Medication. Why, if let's say Mike Shmidt, why would he need medication? There's a bunch of reasons to need medication, right? There's a million reasons to need some type of medication, right? Especially prescribed medication. But if Shmidt, right? If Shmidt is Afton, why would Afton need to take medication? Again, a billion reasons he could need to take medication. But let's go to the big point here, is that Afton definitely probably has some form of PTSD. Right? You know what is the symptom of PTSD? Or can be a symptom, I should say. Is, especially when it comes down, memory repression. So, that would be the reason that Shmidt would need different medication, right? Is that he has PTSD. Does Shmidt know why he has PTSD? Unclear yet. I can't make that assumption. But, let's hear it out, right? Well, let's go back to the boy in the car. The boy in the car is an interesting one because, like I said, there was no explanation for it, right? But let's recover that. Boom. The boy in car. The boy in the car is a very interesting little scene that we got some of, and I was just like, who is this, right? I mean, we all knew who it was when we first looked at it. We know that is, the boy in car is Mike, right? Dark hair, dark eyes, right? Who's being driven away by what looks like his mother because of long hair. So, let's say he's being driven away by his mom, right? Now, Mike may not know why he has to take these meds, but if his mom is driving him away for a reason that we'll get into in just a minute, the mom would know. And the mom would know he has to take it. And of course, Mike's still gonna trust his mom. It's the only parent he had around, because you know why? Because his mom took him away after the crying child incident. Right? So, the crying child incident happens, right? A crying child who we know is one of the kids that haunts Golden Freddy, right? Which is a very interesting point that we can come back to later. So the crying child is Golden Freddy, right? Which is always a thing. And one of my most favorite things is that when crying child is Golden Freddy, if it's not him, I'm sad. Well, I know Cassidy exists, okay? But I like crying child being Golden Freddy. And this theory is going to help prove that. So, after the crying child incident, right? Mom takes him away. Mom takes Mike away from, you guessed it, Mr. Afton himself. Our boy, Willie. Right? So mom's Mike takes him away from Afton. Boom. Right? Because the mom thinks Afton is unsafe and unable to care for children because Afton let crying child die in the incident because it was his animatronics that killed him, right? Him, and if Henry's here, boom. Which Henry, I think, might be here, but that's a separate video, which is very interesting. But he let him die, so the mom took Mike away. And that is the scene why Mike is being driven away by his mom, right? So, his mom would know that he would take him to a therapist for everything that happened because he watched and helped, basically, his brother die, right? Mike, at this point, has probably repressed these memories because, of course, he did. A traumatic childhood event. Almost always. Nah, okay, I shouldn't make that statistic because I actually don't know the proper statistic for that. But does commonly lead to memory repression, right? So Michael's not going to remember any reason why he has to take these meds, but he knows his mom said it, right? So Michael remembers nothing about Freddy's because he has blocked out every memory of Freddy from his head. Because if he thinks about Freddy's too much, it literally will bring him back to the time of the crying child incident. So, I mean, at this point, I presume his mother's dead, which doesn't work great for MatPat's Ultimate Timeline. But we're also talking about a movie, and we always know that the stuff outside the game canon tends to not be one-to-one, right? But does tend to explain things, okay? At this point, his mother's dead, and he's looking for a job, because he needs one job. We covered this earlier. He needs a job. He helps his career counselor. His career counselor being William Afton for whatever reason. I guess we hope it's William Afton. It'd be really weird if it wasn't, right? And we just got, like, juked out. But if he needs job, right? Mike need job, right? And Afton, who would know that that's Mike on the other line. He would know because he would see the paperwork. Mike Shmidt, right? Who is Mike Shmidt? He hears Mike, and then he hears a last name that's very familiar to him. You know why? Because Shmidt is his mother's maiden name. Not Afton's. Mike's mother's maiden name, right? And that's why Afton knows who Mike is, but Mike doesn't know who Afton is because Michael cannot remember anything about his father. He was around 8 at the time when the accident happened. But Afton knows. Afton knows everything. Afton's always a step ahead, right? So that's why he gets him a job at Freddy's, to get Michael back home, back to his home sweet home, to get his child back, right? So all of a sudden now, Mike's back at Freddy's. What's that going to cause? It's going to cause him, because he sees the haunted children, right? So it causes him to see all the children again, right? I'm not saying he knows every child, because that's not how the timeline works. But he's going to see the haunted children, which one of them is his brother, and it causes him to have flashbacks to the time when everything was happening, right? And then he gets trapped. Springtrap gets him, right? Presumably from the trailer, the way it's edited. That's what happens, but obviously we don't know that for sure. But Springtrap gets him, right? And he gets him trapped in the chair, being attacked by Bonnie. Now, there's a very interesting scene later that we see that, first of all, Corey's in that cameo, let's go. But we see that Corey is the taxi driver man, is driving Golden Freddy and Abby, right? And my assumption is that they are on a rescue mission to save Mike from Afton. But who is Golden Freddy? Oh, we already covered this. Golden Freddy is crying. Oh my God, I can't spell. Crying child. That's why he's helping Abby out. That's why he's nice, and that's why he's not trying to kill everybody. Because Golden Freddy is trying to help out his niece or younger sister. I haven't rolled that out yet. But he's trying to help his family. And help his family stay together because they are the only 2 living members left. Unless you count Afton, who's like half living, half not. And that is very interesting. I also have a separate interesting theory about Golden Freddy, but that one's way out there. And we'll cover that another time. Because that one's going to give me a lot of hate. Oh, but it's so fun to think about. Anyway, that is my major theory. Let's recap. Is that Mike Shmidt, who is Michael Afton, but doesn't remember because he took his mother's maiden name after she drove him away and got parental custody because William Afton is clearly unsafe for children after his own son died to one of his animatronics. She drives him away. She gets him on medication to help him out, but all of these memories in Michael's head are repressed into the back of his head, somewhere locked away in a drawer, far away, right? And he hasn't had to think about it for years because his mom is very, very careful about what happens, right? That's why he doesn't know about Freddy's, right? He would be in the prime age at the time of the 80s when, this will all be happening, but she doesn't let that happen. She doesn't let him see any of that. You know why? Because she doesn't want him to come back. But he always comes back. That's the thing, right? So, Mike's mother passed. Abby exists, whether it's his sister or daughter, or either way, right? But Mike doesn't know about Freddy's. Mike doesn't remember anything about Freddy's. So he calls his career counselor. Who's his career counselor? Good old Willie Afton. Or William killed whoever his career counselor was and then took over. Either way. But he sees the name Mike Shmidt. He's like, Mike Shmidt. Haven't heard that name in a long time because Shmidt, as we already covered, is the name of his long-lost love. Well, last name, of course. It'd be weird if his name was Schmidt. He sees that name and he knows immediately who it is. The birthday? He knows that birthday. He hasn't stopped thinking about that birthday. He hasn't stopped thinking about that name since they left. So he helps him get the job at Freddy's. Gets him to come back to good old Papa. And then we'll see what happens. Right? We presume he gets captured. Maybe killed. But Golden Freddy goes to help Abby out. And then, who knows from there? We'll get to see later. But that is my current theory. It's a little better than when I did it originally, and it's a little more fleshed out. This is also my first stab at it, so don't be too harsh at it. I love making these type of videos. This is really fun. Research is just fun. And I realize I have not been saying to the camera the entire time. I'm so sorry. I use my phone, so the screen's here, but the camera's right here. So I look here to make sure the video's still in frame correctly. But this is, like I said, this is my first stab at this, so don't be too harsh. I hope you guys like it though. Like, I had a really lot of fun making this, and if you guys would like to see more of this, that would be so dope. That would be so sick, because I love making these videos. Anyway, you guys have a great time, and I'll see you guys in another one.